didn't realize how wet my hair looks. Apologies, everyone. You know, we've got our first ever Don't At Me live stream. Gotta look fresh. Ended up looking damp.
Man, we just had one of the craziest weeks in the history of Twitch. From gambling to Carlos and Andrew Tate to chess drama to Mizkif, we had it all. So, in the interest of trying to cover all of this news, we couldn't just make a Don't At Me every 3 hours. So myself and Danny Burke, we decided to go live over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/theScore Esports, to break it all down. So before you watch this video, go give us a follow and then tune in.
Now, we actually did a video covering the start of this whole story the other week, which, if you remember, was about a video that Carlos, the CEO of G2, also known as Ocelot, posted online of him partying in a club with Andrew Tate. I don't really think Andrew Tate needs an introduction, but just in case you don't, he's the bald guy who has sort of taken over.
The bald guy.
The bald guy who has taken over people's social media feeds. He appeared to be everywhere.
So he posts this video with him and Andrew Tate at the club. There's not really any context for what it's worth. Like, we have no idea if they went, or at least I don't have any idea if they went to the club together, or if they met there, or if this was like, you know, random pseudo internet celebrity sighting and they just like started partying together. I don't know the details of that. Basically, there was a lot of backlash on the internet, probably rightfully. Like, you know, this guy has rightfully a horrible reputation, and Carlos is someone who's seen as, like, you know, the representative of a massive company in esports. So Carlos kind of doubled down, which I don't know about you, but I thought was kind of shocking, to be honest. It was like he just
it wasn't just it was a doubling down, but also the likes. People were talking a lot about his likes, the kind of tweets that he was liking in support of the video, or in support generally of Andrew Tate, perhaps, were pretty telling as well. That's what I found surprising. And I saw people kept saying this, like, why is nobody sort of stopping him? You know, like what's the structure at G2 where, or maybe he was just ignoring it, right? Maybe there's plenty of people who were messaging him and telling him, but he just, you know, in his own words, he parties whoever the he likes. So
yeah, I mean, seriously, perhaps rightfully so. A lot of people when they saw Carlos associating with Andrew Tate, they drew the conclusion that, I mean, he's at least is not he's I guess amicable to his opinions enough that he would be at a club with him. Again, these things, they become extremely difficult to actually arbitrate because we have no idea how he ended up at the club with him, and we have no idea what they talked about or whether they even talked. But if you're willing to post these things on the internet, then you're at least willing to allow for public association with somebody like that, and with someone who's been so outspokenly brutal in the way that Andrew Tate has, and kind of like basically is unapologetically misogynist about almost everything. I think people drew the conclusion that maybe Carlos was cool with that. Like, take traditional sports, right? If the owner of a traditional sports team does something, you know, offside, they are absolutely going to get, it's going to make the media cycle, right? Mark Cuban yells at someone, people are going to know. But it's not necessarily going to affect the people on the field, right? Whereas, like, I think that's where the size of esports really comes into play, and it being like a relatively small sort of community, to be honest, in terms of like scope. This is the CEO, a guy who, you know, maybe has had 3 conversations with their Valorant roster, but these communities are small enough, and the teams and the organizations are small enough that the actions of this guy can and will and have directly influence you know, like 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who are trying to like make it in this like sort of weird ecosystem. Whether you're a public figure or a private figure, like you're still, people are still going to judge you based on the company you keep. Like, if you hang out with losers, people are going to be like, you're a loser. Like, even if you're a good person and you mean well, like the company you keep matters, and especially the company you keep on the internet. Like, Carlos isn't a stupid guy. He understands that when you post something on the internet, people are going to see it. Like, how many followers does the guy have? He understands what he did.
It was weird though, his wording of like, I draw my line here, like that was kind of odd, right? He's like, I draw my line here, and all that was happening was people were just giving him feedback on a video he posted to millions of people online. He's like, no, I draw my line here. So that was, I still agree that he understands it. It's just that it was just very odd that he seemed shocked, right?
Exactly. When people started. Like, how could you possibly hit send on that tweet and be like, oh, there's no way there's going to be any backlash on this? Like, the guy's just like the most famously frustrating or famously hated person on the internet right now. The fact that the actions of this guy are somehow going to impact like Valorant players and a whole Valorant ecosystem that they've developed over time it seems like very extreme to me. It seems like very extreme that Carlos popping bottles with Andrew Tate, as stupid as that is going to impact some kids that want to play Valorant for a living. And that's going to be the fallout, is that those, because it's not going to be the thing is it's not Carlos ever that is gonna get the worst of this. I know he looks emotional in that video, but the guy is still worth a lot of money. He's gonna have another business opportunity 3 days from now, and the people that are actually gonna get punished by the fact that potentially they're being left out of Valorant because of this are, number one, the G2 Esports employees that he's left behind that have to clean up his mess. Number two, these kids that want to play Valorant for a living. That being said, it does seem like some of the news that came out today is not true. So earlier today, there was a report that in the LEC, that Carlos was forced by Riot to sort of divest his ownership of G2, because obviously he would have had shares in G2. There was a report earlier today that Carlos was forced to get rid of his shares in order for G2 to keep their franchise slot in the LEC. So this guy, Riot to the max, head of esports for EMEA, or I guess League of Legends, he says that the LEC never requested Carlos to resign or to divest his ownership. They've opened an investigation, still ongoing, but that report apparently is not true, or at least it's not coming from Riot. Because this person, he also says here, LEC didn't request, Riot did, and he says no. So that rumor today seems to have been proven false, or at least that's what the messaging from Riot is, which is interesting given that the same thing hasn't been said yet about any of the Valorant news from last week.
Hypothesizing for a moment, what would be the best approach for Riot in this situation? And let's take as a given that they don't want to continue dealing with Carlos. Let's just say that part is non-negotiable, right? Yeah. What would be the best way to move forward in perhaps the most with the most empathy, should we say?
I mean, I think maybe it's something a little bit more prolonged. Like if G2 was already interested in distancing themselves from Carlos, or if that was already planned based off of this stuff and the announcement that we saw, like, it's possible Riot could have spent some time talking to G2 before they make a decision like that, if that's in fact what helped color that decision. Obviously, I'm assuming that G2 Esports was a priority for the European Valorant scene, like given the legacy they have in European esports.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we know for sure that there's like a one-to-one link?
No, that's what I've been trying. I think pretty consistently. I think like there was a report on Friday that people were saying that part of their decision to remove or not have G2 in franchising was because of this ongoing situation, but we don't know for sure. The only thing we know for sure is that this whole him being held hostage for his shares by Riot is not true, because they made a statement on that today.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. So if Riot were to come out and say, listen, like what happened the other week with that video was definitely a part of it, but we'd already made up our minds that for whatever reason G2 didn't fit the bill.
That's fully
that would just be an interesting end to this story, wouldn't it? Because it was like everyone has made all these cases for and against based off that. Yeah. Based off the fact that link is definitely real, and we don't technically know yet. I mean, it's very likely given what we've discussed already, given, like you said, their history and
for sure. It just seems so odd that they wouldn't be included.
Yeah, they seem like a complete shoo-in for it.
We'll be coming back live on Twitch this Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday or Thursday. Dimitri will be back talking CS, playing retakes. Buy the merch. Buy the merch. I mean, I swear to God, it was kind of a big passion thing for me that I didn't want to make merch that sucked, because I think a lot of merch sucks and the quality is low. And I think we did some cool stuff that's simple and easy to wear, but is also pretty endemic. So if you guys are looking for some new stuff, please hit shop.thescore.com. Yeah, be on the lookout for Dimitri on Wednesday. We got Don't At Me's coming to you all week. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Yeah, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.